Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rudy McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. During the customary Sunday Angelus, Pope Francis turned his attention to regions of the world impacted by conflict, turmoil, and natural catastrophes. He urged everyone to pray for those affected by the tornado that rocked the US state of Mississippi on Friday. The tornado claimed an estimated 26 lives. The Pope also urged believers not to forget the people striving to recover from the disastrous effects of the tragic earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria on the 6th of February and claimed over 50,000 lives. The Holy Father also prayed for peace and harmony in Peru. Bishop Rolando Alvarez of Matagalpa in Nicaragua, who was sentenced to 26 years and 4 months in prison, has given his first statement since in a video. It was aired by a media outlet associated with President Daniel Ortega's dictatorship. When asked how he was doing, the bishop said, "Thank God well, with much inner strength, with much peace in the Lord and the Blessed Virgin." The bishop is being held at the Jorge Navarro prison, also known as La Modelo, in Tipitapa. The prison is known for human rights violations, including assaults by prison employees on convicts and the denial of visitation rights to family members. The prelate had chosen to stay with 37 other prisoners who are still being held in Nicaraguan prisons, rather than being deported to the United States, along with 222 other political prisoners, including priests and seminarians. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently testified before the U.S. Congress that Bishop Alvarez's situation is being followed and that he ought to be released. The Republican-controlled House of Representatives in the United States approved the Parents' Bill of Rights, which included last-minute modifications to increase transparency on schools' transgender policies. This bill ensures that parents can play a bigger role in the public education system. With the support of the majority of Republicans, the resolution sponsored by Representative Julia Letlow of Louisiana was passed in the House by 213 to 208. The piece of legislation describes the rights of parents regarding their children's education, including access to teacher-parent conferences, materials from the school budget, curriculum and literature, as well as the chance to speak in front of a school board. It will also increase parental input opportunities on educational issues, as well as strengthen student privacy rights and security regulations. The resolution now heads to the Democratic-controlled Senate, where it faces an uphill challenge. Parents, conservative groups, and family law attorneys in the US state of Minnesota have voiced concern over a trans refuge bill being advanced by legislators. They assert that the legislation's wording could see parents lose custody of their kids if they are opposed to providing care for transgender people. The new bill aims to turn the state into a trans refuge center where children from other states where such therapies are outlawed can get gender-changing procedures. Pope Francis promulgated the updated version of the motu proprio Vos Estis Lux Mundi on Saturday, March the 25th. It codifies various procedures to combat clerical sexual abuse. The updated version will come into effect on the 30th of April. Title 2, which spells out the responsibilities of bishops and superiors of religious communities, has new changes in the revised edition of the motu proprio. It also says that laypersons who are or have been moderators of global associations of the faithful will be held responsible for abuse while they were in office. The new edition also calls for ensuring the legitimate protection of the good name and privacy of all persons involved, and presuming that those who are being probed are innocent. For the first time, 2 women who reportedly went through and survived Chinese re-education camps in Xinjiang province gave testimony to US Congress members. Uyghur woman Gulbahar Hadiwaji testified before a special House committee that throughout the roughly 3 years she spent in detention centres and police stations, she received 11 hours per day of brainwashing education. This involved singing patriotic songs and praising the leadership before and after meals. In addition, Kelbinur Siddiq, an ethnic Uzbek from China and a human rights activist residing in the Netherlands, spoke about how Chinese officials forced her to instruct detainees in one of the country's internment camps. This was the second hearing hosted by the newly established Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, dedicated to countering Beijing. In spite of stringent criticism from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Disney World is going to conduct the largest LGBTQ conference in the world this September. Disney announced that the Out and Equal Workplace Summit will be the largest LGBTQ summit in the world, with close to 5,000 people participating. They include executives and HR professionals from major firms from several companies. Sponsors of the upcoming event include major firms such as Apple, Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's, Uber, Hilton, Boeing, Pfizer, and Google. Also partnering with this event are American agencies such as the State Department, the CIA, and the FDA. Former Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi lambasted the American Catholic bishops for their opposition to abortion and child transgender treatment during a panel discussion at Georgetown University's Center on Faith and Justice. Pelosi claimed that the bishops are willing to abandon the bulk of Catholic social teaching because of abortion. The Affordable Care Act and the Respect for Marriage Act were two pieces of legislation supported by Pelosi while she was Speaker of the House, first from 2007 to 2011, and then again from 2019 to 2023. The US Conference of Catholic Bishops has referred to LGBTQ+ legislation as very disturbing and abortion as a grave evil. In May 2022, Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone of San Francisco declared in an open letter that he would start prohibiting priests in his diocese from giving Pelosi Holy Communion due to her stance on abortion. Christians in Canada suffered a huge spike in religious hate crimes, with the largest increase in targeted crimes against Catholics, the 260% increase in 2021. According to reports by Statistics Canada, as many as 3,360 reports of hate crimes have been made to the police. The attacks on Catholic churches in Canada in 2021, including cases of arson, can be linked to this rise. According to the EU information, there was also a 47% spike in hate crimes against Jews and a 71% increase in violence against Muslims. A new report from the United Nations Human Rights Office shows that human rights in Ukraine remain dismal as Russia continues its military campaign in the country. The new report verifies many allegations of willful death, arbitrary detention, forced disappearance, torture, maltreatment, and sexual assault associated with conflict, covering the 6 months leading to January. It was released on Friday, March the 24th. There were almost 6,000 civilian casualties during this period, including 1,605 fatalities. With only documented instances being included, the actual number of casualties is most certainly far greater. In addition, the survey found that attacks using explosive weapons caused several civilian casualties due to their broad area impacts. Republican Idaho Governor Brad Little signed the bill this week mandating that students use school facilities corresponding to their biological sex. This means that those students who are going through gender dysphoria can only use the lockers and restrooms that correspond to their original gender determined at birth. This comes at a time when gender ideology is being imposed in many educational institutions in the United States and in Europe. Together with Republican governors of Arkansas and Iowa, Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Kim Reynolds, Idaho is the third state this week to pass a similar bill that will go into effect on the 1st of July. Pope Francis has asked the dicastery for the Eastern churches to revive the appeal to solidarity with the Christian community of the Holy Land as the time for the annual collection for Christians in Israel, Palestinian territories, and Jordan draws close. In a letter to bishops around the world, the chair of the dicastery, Archbishop Claudio Gugerotti, recalled the tragic earthquake that rocked Syria and Turkey. The prefect praised the work of the Franciscans of the Holy Land and others who provide aid for the suffering while remaining sources of hope by caring for those most in need. According to a new book, many Jews received help from about 100 Catholic religious orders during the Holocaust. The book says that over 700 diocesan priests in 600 localities in occupied Poland helped Jews escape. These are the findings of lawyer and documentarian Richard Tindorf, who presented his 2-volume work, Wartime Rescue of Jews, by the Polish Catholic Church on March the 23rd at the Catholic University of Lublin. The book is a study of rescue operations for Jews carried out by the Catholic Church and its clergy in German-occupied Poland during World War II. The rector of the Catholic University, Father Mirosław Kalinowski, said it took decades to complete the book, which includes the testimonies of saved Jews. The Taliban-appointed Department of Natural Disaster Management has said that at least 10 people were killed and more than 60 hurt when flash floods and an earthquake struck Afghanistan. According to the US Geological Survey, the epicenter of the recent earthquake was 40 kilometers to the southeast of the Jurm district in Afghanistan's Badakhshan province. Afghanistan is going through harrowing times with natural disasters, a lack of essential supplies, and terror attacks. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And do remember, in the meantime, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.